Buddy, Raven fans, Oriole fans, thank you for joining us here on the Ravery Sports podcast for fans like me. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. Thank you. Good seeing y'all. Well, I can't see y'all, but through the camera. But it's good being here. Good doing this. Thank you for watching, YouTube people, you Twitter people, you or X, whatever they call it, X. Thank you, your Facebook people, and also to you Twitch people. So thank you very much for following, liking, subscribing, all of you. Thank you very much. Numbers are going up. We're still working on it. Not great yet, but we're getting there, and we're happy to get there. Let's get but all the people that are watching, I want everybody to like what they see and everything like that. So thank you very much for joining us with that. We got a lot going on, so we got a little bit more business here than usual at the beginning. So thank you for your indulgence with that here. Harris Legal Shield Sunday is going to be the day where I'm going to be live streaming at 3 o'clock to introduce my new Legal Shield legal insurance business. Definitely, this is for you business owners out there, okay? If you are out here and you are looking to, uh, if you're looking to, if you don't like the prices of a lawyer every time you have to pick up a lawyer, as a business owner, let me tell you, there are legal issues that you have to deal with. And legal issues, small ones become big ones if you don't take care of them. Trust me, I have a couple businesses here. I have, with the notary business, I have now the legal shield. Now e-commerce and all the other stuff. There's licensing. There's all this other stuff. Trust me, this will save you so much money. Definitely check us out Sunday, 3 o'clock, 2424. We're gonna live stream. We're gonna answer questions. Anybody like this? We're gonna be here. A couple people are gonna be joining me for that as well on my team. So definitely check that out. Sunday, Harris Legal Shield. Also, Genesis Notary Services. We're gonna live stream for that as well on President's Day. So definitely that's at 12 o'clock. Definitely, this is like we will stamp those documents with care. Okay, so it's your documents and our expertise. We're gonna go ahead and take care of that for you. Any documents, anything in the Shenandoah Valley. So definitely too. What I'm getting a lot of in the notary business is a lot of people that want to do have me stamp their will for them. People that are at the hospital want to stamp the will for them. People that are older that want to solidify their medical documents and things like that. So definitely Harris Genesis Notary Services live stream is on that day, 2/19 as well. One other thing, I want to shout out this guy. Let's call him Victor. He is our graphic designer now. So we're going to hire a graphic designer. We're going to be doing some web designing and things like that. Definitely check him out. Definitely go on LinkedIn, put in the name right down there as well. That he is going to be. Look, let me tell you something. This young guy is very, very impressive. Definitely went over went over all of my businesses that I have and everything like that. Definitely check him out for his graphic design. Put that name in the LinkedIn. I'll put it down at the bottom of the screen there where you can go ahead and have all of that information there. Go to LinkedIn, put that name in, and you can get excellent graphic design. We have a new logo. We have we're gonna have a new logo. I have one for the notary business as well. We're gonna be making some changes and things like that. He's gonna be helping us with that. Tireless worker there. Very impressed with that. So we have that as well. Let us not forget, go to ravorisports.company.site. Super Bowl Sunday is coming. We're still live streaming on Super Bowl Sunday. And definitely check that out. 4 o'clock, our Super Bowl Sunday stream. All right, let's get down to the business of football. Our last game. So the Ravens defeated in the AFC Championship. Boy, we got a lot to say here. 17-10, Ravens lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. KC is going to the Super Bowl. Ravens did lose their first championship game Since 1971, City of Baltimore has had a championship game that we've had in the city of Baltimore, first ever in the Ravens' history since '96. Piece one is what it is. I mean, as much as we don't like it, as much as bad as it is, um, it's terrible. I said before the game, I didn't want to see Taylor Swift on our field celebrating, and that's exactly what happened. So let's go over the game. Uh, that sheet. Lamar, 20 for 37, 272, one TD, one interception. Um, I'm gonna go recap a little bit after the stat sheet here a little bit. Um, it's hard at this point with Lamar to not go over the playoff losses. It's just hard to do. It's hard for me as a Ravens fan, a huge fan as anybody of Lamar Jackson. It's very difficult not to face facts that their record is just not good. You can't say now next season when he starts for the Ravens, he's going to be in year 7. This is 2-4 in the playoffs. There's no other way around it. I don't think he was horrible in this game. I think like he's been. I think it's a little much some of the stuff I've heard, but I don't think he was horrible. He wasn't great. When you are in a game like this AFC Championship, you're gonna have to step up. You're gonna have to do more. This is what the money's for. A game like this, you gotta in this step up like this. So I don't think he was the reason. You need to be if you're the quarterback. You need to be the reason you win. He definitely wasn't here. They had other issues though in this. Gus Edwards, ridiculous. Three carries for 26 yards, for 20 yards. That's just you didn't use him at all. He was even productive. 3 carries. Pretty good average, but not much running game. There's a ton of misconception about the running game. I'll go over that. Here's the thing. Zay Flowers is actually terrific in this game. I'm gonna say it. He was not so good, I think, even like the fumble that he was lauding, I don't think he made a bad play. I don't think Harbaugh, when John Harbaugh was asked about the game, he was actually kind of ripped Zay Flowers. I didn't either. I thought Snead made just a terrific play at the end, just knocking the ball out of his hands. I looked at it with the naked eye when I first saw it. I thought he got in. That's how close it was. He was. I mean, not a yard. I mean, inches away. So just tough luck there at the goal line, knocking the ball. He had an excellent touchdown catch. I think he blows past people. He blows past people. Absolutely. Kyle Hamilton gave up his first touchdown. Otherwise, he was terrific in this game, I thought. Kyle Hamilton, I'll get to the throw from Mahomes in a minute, but Kyle Hamilton, I think going forward, he's going to make himself a lot of money. No question about it. I think everybody's forgotten how good Marcus Williams is because Kyle Hamilton, he's been terrific. He's dominant at every level. He's like, not saying he's actually on steroids, but like a Dallas Thomas on steroids. He basically plays every position. He plays in the slot. He plays corner. He plays tight ends. He plays the back end. He plays the hitter. He plays everything. He's so good at so many positions, so valuable. Good. Did give up his first TD though in this one as well. So let's go to the competition. What happened? Mahomes was terrific. He always is. This was the Michael Jordan factor that I was talking about last week. When you go against Michael Jordan, you go against Mahomes, you go against Tom Brady, you go against Kobe. That's what they do. He was terrific. I got to tell you, that throw in the first half to Kelsey, the first touchdown, I am in shock still he completed it. That was a perfect throw on Kyle Hamilton. I mean, Hamilton didn't have bad coverage. Defense didn't have bad coverage. They rushed him the way they should. He was in position, and only Holmes and Kelsey could have completed that. That was man. I couldn't believe it. How that was. That's what I'm talking about with Lamar. That's a great quarterback. This is the great one. That's what you do in this situation. 30 of 39. Not a ton of yards, 241, but they did enough in the first half, and they actually got the job done. I think the Ravens defense adjusted in the second half. but they had already had 17 points. Uh, this is running the ball. This guy, Isaiah Pacheco. Um, I like him more. I gotta say, I like him more every time I see him. I still think he's kind of small to run the way he does, and be durable. But when he is in there, he runs hard. I mean, he's there. He played when you play against this guy. 24 carries, 68 yards. Not a great day, but again, the usage. Look at that, 24 carries, 68 yards. So they did a lot. Kelsey was sensational in this one. Kelsey, I got to tell you, Mike McDonald might be gone. I'm gonna go over that. I can tell you that was terrible. What he did in this one. Kelsey was terrific. Absolutely in this one. I got to tell you, nobody's talking about this. That was terrible, terrible, terrible. Not doubling Kelsey early in the game. That was insane. How in the grilled cheese ham sandwich? Gotta say it like that. Uh, that you don't double him when there's nothing else there. I was amazed, and he made him pay. One set 11 for 116, greatest tight end to ever play maybe, and you don't double. Of course he went crazy. Bad, not good. Carol was good. They had three guys on Chris Jones a lot, which they did that on offense. I mean, that's the smart thing. He had a one sack. They had a couple sacks. Lamar, for the most part, was upright. I definitely think they got to do something with Ronnie Stanley in the offseason. He's not healthy enough to start anymore over a long time. We will see how that goes. I definitely think they're going to bring somebody in the offseason. This defense, I got to tell you, is better than what I thought it was for Kansas City. So their defense really played well against Lamar as well. So that is what happened there. All right. After this game, a couple things I want to go over real quick. A lot of stuff is out here that is, I think, I'm even put the game together. A lot of stuff is out here that I think is inaccurate about this game. Okay. Couple points. They lost this game because the Chiefs were better than the Ravens. The Ravens weren't good, but they weren't bad. Sometimes, any given Sunday, things happen. That's pretty much the way it went here. They didn't. The Chiefs were just better on Sunday than they were. I don't think all this choking and all this stuff. I would say if it was to. I'm not afraid to say if they choked. To me, definition of choke is you gave up a huge lead. You played way, way, way below you normally. It wasn't like that. The Chiefs had just been here before and were better. They were just better. That fumble by Zay Flowers, that was one of the best defensive plays I saw all season. That throw by Mahomes and Travis Kelce, that was fantastic. So I think it was better Chiefs than bad Ravens in that thing. So I think that's fair. We keep hearing this too. Where was the run game? Look, guys, you guys, and I'm not telling because I wasn't for this, but you fans out there, all I heard last season was we don't want Greg Roman here. We don't want run game. We want to throw the ball. We want to go down the field. We don't want that. That's all last season I heard a run game. We don't want this anymore. We got to throw the ball more. We can't get this. We can't do this. All that season, that's all we kept talking about. That's all people kept talking about. Okay. So now you're in a passing offense, and all I've heard is the run game. Oh, where was the run game? We got the reading run game. We didn't do that. Here's the other thing. This is not. I cannot believe I'm hearing that it was far different. And no, it's not. They've been doing this. I really looked this up. Since 2008, the whole John Harbaugh era, we really haven't had a bell cow at the running back position. The only one that's really been a bell cow in the Harbaugh era was Ray Rice, pretty much, where you get 1,200 yards, volume carries, stuff like that, ball out of the backfield. He rotates in and out. Guys get. He said exactly what I thought he would have to do, John Harbaugh. Well, that's just how the game went. Didn't go that way. Blah blah blah. He doesn't like bell cow. He doesn't like to run the ball. He probably take what they give him. That's what it is. You got a guy, offensive coordinator Tom Monken, take what they give him. They played the line one way, they played a different way. It played right into Spagnuolo's hands, Steve Spagnuolo, and they make Lamar throw the ball deep. Didn't work out. Didn't happen. Defense was better than they have outstanding corners by Kansas City. Their corners are those are two of the best I've seen all season as far as a pair of corners. So it was fantastic. That's what happened. So a lot of misconception about the game plan. I don't think they were that different in the way they played this one. It's composed all season the way they play all of them. You saw more rush yards because they were leading in a lot of these games. That's why you saw more rush yards in those games than you did in this one. Their run game has been Lamar scramble, Lamar scramble, Lamar scramble. Then we get a few carries to Edwards, a few carries. If somebody get a hot hand, or if we get a big enough lead, then we start running the ball. There was no lead in this one, but they threw more. Essentially, that's what happened. That's exactly what KC wanted you to do. I do agree. They were out coached. That's probably the one thing I heard that's right. They got set up pretty good by Spagnuolo because that's what they wanted. They wanted Lamar to throw deep because they knew their corners could handle it against their receivers. Odell, where was he in this game? I don't think he even played until the fourth. If he did, maybe here and there, they didn't play much. So that tells you about what they think of him going forward. So that's a thing as well. So there was a couple of things here that were misconceptions that I've heard out there that I wanted to go ahead and. But again, mad about the run game. I don't know what I don't know what you got. You got, and again, I'm not. I you can't be mad now that he's throwing it when you're mad now that he's throwing it. Now you're supposed to run it. Come on, guys. And I didn't want Greg Roman to leave necessarily. I was one of the few. I wanted Wink Martindale out more than I did Roman. Martindale's defense, Wink Martindale's previous defensive coordinator, throwing me bananas. He would just blitz all the time and plays big plays over the head. Mike McDonald's taking over, and now you don't see all those big plays. He does some of that, but he balances it as well. But so season's over. I want to thank Ravens. I mean, it was a good season. Let's not forget that. So we're all disappointed. Obviously, we're all still here, fresh, a little upset, a little frustrated. They won a lot of games. 13-4 none to see that. Got to the AFC Championship game. Hey, look, this is the way it goes, unfortunately. You had 20, 28 or 29 teams eliminated before we were. So we'll be back next season. There's a lot of guys. I will say this. The Harbaugh criticism is valid. That's right, too. I think it's fair to say he got outcoached in the game against Kansas City. That's absolutely that's absolutely right. The way he runs his run game is I've been saying it. That's why I'm not as big on the run game because I've been saying this for 2 years. I've been saying it for 2 years. He yanks guys in and out. He doesn't know how to manage a run game, and he's the constant. We saw this with Cam Cameron was the offensive coordinator. We saw this with Roman as offensive coordinator. We've seen this with Jim Caldwell. The whole Harbaugh tenure. This is what the run game was look like. Getting guys in sporadically. 3 carries for 20 yards for Gus. That's the first time we've seen this all. It's not. So that's more on that. So the facts, I don't know why everybody's shocked. That's what's incredible. So next season we will do that. We will have Ravens off-season content for you. We'll be happy to give it to you. Next week we're going to start our off-season content. We're going to talk about Ravens free agency. This year in free agency, it's different. There's a lot of unrestricted free agents. So they had a lot of guys on one-year deals who were very productive. So definitely going to talk about that free agency, what we think the Ravens will do in free agency, who stays, who goes. We'll definitely go over that as well. NFC Championship. was played. We'll talk a little bit about that. 49ers are going to the Super Bowl over the Detroit Lions. Um, this was another one I kind of thought they got out coached, but this was out coaching kind of the way you thought it went. Brock Purdy is for real. Brock Purdy's pretty good. I don't think there's any question about if Brock Purdy is any good. Brock Purdy, I think a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. If I was to do a list right now, I definitely put him in the top 10. I thought he was good. He's poised. That's always so key with a quarterback. Um, in the critical moments, can you hold it together? Can you stay calm under fire? I thought Brock Purdy was just fine in this game. I don't think they will necessarily win in the Super Bowl. We'll talk more about that when we get to the Super Bowl. But I thought they would. I thought he was really good. Um, they're a physical football team. I like this. This game, this was a hard hitter before, so this was kind of seen as the undercard because the two quarterbacks weren't as marquee as the other one. But this was a really hard hitter as well. Let's talk about the Lions. Lions, they're not going to be crying in the beer because they lost the AFC Championship game. This is as far as they've gotten in forever. I think this is a perennially good team. I think the Lions. I think the season that they had may be the precursor to what's to come. They've drafted well. They have a quarterback I think that's very motivated to do well. Their line is fantastic. They came up short in this one, but I think they definitely have a lot of good years ahead. I don't think. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I have them ahead of Dallas next year. It says like because I think definitely there's enough there where they can go back to the AFC Championship. So we'll definitely see them in the playoffs as well. NFC Championship goes to the Niners, going to the Super Bowl. So good job from the 49ers actually getting into Super Bowl. Do a couple quick hits here before we go to baseball. We're going to do like 5 or 6 segments here, 4 or 5 segments here, before we actually get to our baseball discussion. Uh, Maryland basketball. So 2 good wins for the Terps. Pretty close win at Iowa. I thought that was good. I thought Jameer Young kind of again bailed him out at the end. That move he made at the end, kind of splitting 3 defenders. Guys can't say in front of him. He blows by him. His shooting, I think, isn't as good this year. I don't think in key spots, but he's able to get to the rim pretty much whenever he wants a lot of time. So he hasn't needed it, but I really think they really need to help him out and step up. The Nebraska game, I thought they looked the best they did all season. They won by a decent margin. The Terps, I think, are about a borderline for what I've seen 20 teams. I don't think it's any more than that in the Big Ten. I think a lot of the Big Ten, frankly, it's going to get real interesting because a lot of the Big Ten looks like that, except for Purdue and so far Wisconsin. They look really good. But I mean, a lot of the teams, Iowa's in there, Northwestern's in there, Michigan State. A lot of those teams that kind of look right on that borderline. So I think they're a borderline 20 team. They could have like eight, 8 or 9 in the Big Ten, in the 20. We'll see how it goes. But I think the Terps not dead yet, not dead yet. They got a little ways to go this year. We will see how they go going forward. But they look borderline turning team. They look tremendous though against Nebraska. I thought it was very impressive the way they played. So good job by the Terps winning 2 games in the last week. So I heard this today. It looks like they're. I'm not exactly sure. He didn't say it exactly, but Tom Brady is going to be the lead analyst for the 2024 season. As we saw it on the Pat McAfee show today, he will be calling the Super Bowl with Kevin Burkhardt next year. It definitely looks like that he's going to take over for Greg Olson as the lead analyst for Fox. This was kind of in the works for a while that he said that he wanted to take a whole year to prepare for that. I think also too he had been playing football for 20 years. He kind of wanted to be home for a little while and just kind of study things like that. So he's kind of been working on it. He said he is going to be calling the Super Bowl next year for Fox. He is going to be the lead analyst. He's going that, so that's what that is. That's what the lead analyst is. Super Bowl. Um, Brady's going to be fantastic. Brady's going to be fantastic. I can already see it in his analyst. He's already moving towards the analyst and all the things that he's doing. He certainly knows the game of football, and no question, his preparation will be tremendous. And this is kind of crazy here. Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWE, former owner, sole owner of the WWE, the McMahon family, is out at the WWE in any role at TKO, which actually owns now, as recently, you saw if you saw that recently, TKO now owns UFC and WWE, and Vince McMahon is out now as the owner. Uh, Thursday last week, WWE former employee Janelle Grant sued Vince McMahon, owner, who would become the owner of what would become WWE and executive chairman of TKO, and the board accused him of sexual assault and sex trafficking. Uh, that is what happened there. Uh, uh, Come on, man. This is bad. Um, I think let me talk about the actual issue first. Uh, we don't know exactly what happened here. Okay, so this looks bad. He has denied it. Of course, he would, or anybody would. So he's going to go to court and fight this, and we'll find out all the details in court. We have our own opinions and thoughts, so we don't know for sure what happened. We do know for sure that the lawsuit is out there, and we do know that this is a court case that actually is going on right now. Well, the court cases are going on right now, but the lawsuit has been filed as well. It has been filed. Uh, so we will find out. Uh, One thing I want to go over first before I go over how I personally feel about it. This has been coming for a while. I watched WWE. I think I've said it before. I definitely watched WWE. Uh, so I definitely this has been coming for a while. Vince kind of knew something like this was going to happen. They kind of knew something like this was going to happen. That's just my opinion. Because I have a friend that told me a long time ago, this guy will never sell. He will never sell WWE. He'd never retire. So this guy, for 50 years, his life, his entire life, really, he's a third generation promoter. He would never get rid of WWE. So the fact that he stepped down before from the company, his daughter, Stephanie McMahon, was in charge of it. His daughter, Stephanie McMahon, was in charge of it. And then he wind up coming back, finding in power to facilitate, apparently, the sale to TKO, which eventually happened. Or sell, he was going to sell to anybody who wasn't known as TKO, to sell to someone. So he came back, sale. Part of the sale, he was named executive chairman position at TKO. He still owns a ton of stock there. So I think the reason probably he wanted to sell because he knew something like this would happen and he could protect himself. He wound up stepping down from that position because of the allegations. More importantly, Slim Jim, as a sponsor, backed out of the Royal Rumble. I think it was a sponsor backed out. And I think he was concerned that this could be the first of many sponsors he was going to have cause a lot of problems, lose a lot of money doing it. He stepped down, stepped out, Slim Jim stepped back in, and he kind of removed himself from power. So there's no more Vince in WWE, especially the week of all weeks, which is probably one of the biggest weeks. Road to WrestleMania and also to the Netflix deal, which was historic. Um, Let me tell you, most of my life, I've been literally almost all my life, I've been a wrestling fan. Um, and this guy's been at the forefront. The WWE has been the head of pro wrestling forever. WWE, World Wrestling Federation, now World Wrestling Entertainment. They don't even use that WWE. World Wrestling. Don't even call it that because they don't even call it that. I think it's just WWE forever. This guy has been at the forefront, Vince McMahon. So like literally all my life, He's been there as well. This is all. Period. There's no excuse for this. There's no excuse for this. There's no place for this. There's no place for anything at all like this. This is what happens, though. I will say when people stay in power too long, you know, and this is just again, this is my opinion. Vince been in power too long, 40 years, no balance, working for so long, working so many. He feels he has the right to. He might feel he has the right to still thinks he can sleep with a woman. That woman, I don't have a picture of her, but like she's younger than I am for sure. Like, um, so no place for this, no reason for this. Um, if he just would have just went home a while ago, he wouldn't have had to deal with any of this. Now he's going to be dealing with this. His children have to deal with this. His grandchildren have to hear about this. His wife, he's still married. Um, no place. No place for this foolishness. So it's a sports media story that's just lousy. That has to. That has to. No place. It's kind of. I kind of put this one, and I'll finish it. In the R. Kelly, Bill Cosby category. It's kind of just sad for me in a way. Being watching wrestling for so many years, and the guy at the head was just acting all sleazy, allegedly. And same with Bill Cosby. All these years watching Cosby, like, and Lord only knows what this guy. So yeah, so that's what that's unfortunate for a lot of people involved. He's not going to be the only one to go. I can guarantee you that. Brock Lesnar's already maybe been shown the door because his name was in that. So, a couple more. Mike McDonald interviews with Seattle and Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Commanders as well. Word is he's the favorite in Seattle to get the job. So wouldn't be surprised if Mike McDonald got a job. They actually interviewed him for the first time after the Ravens were eliminated there. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually go ahead and get a job. I think Mike McDonald's going to get the job. I'd be surprised. They've definitely let's see how he interviews and everything like that. Ben Johnson, I think, has turned it down. I think he's a very hot coordinator. He's been interviewed by several teams. I definitely believe he in one of these gigs if he wants it. Joe Ortiz becomes the GM of the Los Angeles Chargers. He was the Ravens director of player personnel. Similar position that Eric DaCosta had before he became the general manager. So he's going to go take the general manager job at the LA Chargers. This is the Harbaugh all the way. So they don't generally, looking at their history, hire and work with people that they don't know very well. That's just the way they roll. They don't really work with people that they don't know well, they kind of work with the same people. You see, Mike McDonald, we just talked about it, coach of Michigan, coach with the Ravens, etc. There's a lot of guys like that. John Harbaugh is definitely a guy. You look at guys, you look at the entire staff. These are guys he has a relationship with of some kind. He doesn't hire people generally, people that he doesn't know. And Jim Harbaugh is for the most part like that as well. He's a little bit more flexible, but they generally hire people like that. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he takes a job with Jim Harbaugh because he knows Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's been around. I'm sure he's been talking to him in the facility, knows him well, had dinner with him. They have a relationship already. So good for him getting the job of the Los Angeles Chargers. So let's get this queued up here. Take this down. So let's get this up here on the screen. Let's play it.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Look at this graphic. It is not wrong. It is a. It is looks like it's been reported in several places that the Angelos family has sold the Baltimore Orioles. Here are some of the details here. Uh, the Angelos family has agreed to sell the MLB franchise to a pair of billionaires, David Rubison and Mike. I can't pronounce his last name. Let's call him Mike. I would have messed up his last name. Price that values over 1.725 billion with a B dollars. So it looks like here the Angeloses here have sold it. First of all, they bought it for 170 million. I think they put up about half of that. I remember that the Witt family owned like 49% or whatever it was. So I think they owned. So I think they put up about half of that, like 85 million, and now they're selling it for 1.7 million. So yeah, that's a good profit for a several year investment. They 10x what they got. I think this group is going to maintain a minority share until Peter Angelos actually passes away. So they're going to maintain a minority share until Peter Angelos passes away. I know what we're all thinking. Finally, we're going to spend some money on this team. And I hope you're right, because this changes everything. I think, though, I would say it almost, I don't want to say I'm not going to defend the Angelos. I'm almost going to, I'm almost going to defend the Angelos here in more recent years. If they were trying to sell, and clearly they were, they didn't want it to get out like that, but of course, because you don't want to do that because you don't want to lower your sale price. But that kind of makes sense why you didn't want to spend money because you don't want to do that. If you don't want to leave a new owner with all these debt, you want to make it more attractive. You want to lower your costs, etc. I think that's what was going on. So now that he actually has a buyer that he wants, then okay, he can kind of come out. I think he'll come out. I think maybe at some point they'll come out and say that. But I think that explains something. It's not just greedy owner necessarily. He had a reason why he didn't want to do that. So, hallelujah. They're terrible owners. I don't know them as people, and I'm not going to sit there and go there and say I know John Angelos, I know Peter Angelos, but they were horrible. They were horrible. They were horrible owners. They had a couple of good years when they bought it, and then they just lost interest. Team was bad management as well, all the way around. It was just bad. They just weren't good owners, and I don't think you're not going to see. I don't think you're going to see anybody defending them as owners. You're just not. Yeah. And again, I'm not going to go there as human beings or whatever. I don't know. I didn't have that. I didn't have any of that relationship, but they not good owners, obviously. So let's go over this here, part of our baseball discussion. Top 10 third baseman in MLB. So who are the top third baseman in MLB? So we've been going right along. We're going to go through all the positions here as we get to the regular season. Now we're here in the off season. So who is in the top 10? This position is very, very strong. I don't think there's any question about one of the strongest. But when I looked at it, it's like, wow, this is much, much stronger than I thought as far as terms of the quality of players. Look at that right off the bat. Number 10, Matt Chapman. I have Blue Jays. He's still a free agent, so he has not signed. I don't know where he is going to sign. Word is Cubs, possibly. I think he could wind up back in Toronto, but he's phenomenal. I think all the years, it was almost too bad. I think he almost got wasted in Oakland all those years. All those years that him and Greg Olson were there. That's right, Greg Olson, Matt Olson were there. They actually elevated the team. I don't know if he's on the downside of it, but he's pretty good. I think he's definitely in the top 10, better than most. I definitely think he'll get you 20 home runs, 80 RBIs. I think it depends on where he goes. If he can go definitely to a line of edge protection, you actually can have a resurgence. Isaac Paredes from the Rays. So definitely here's the Rays. Look, I'm doing these lists. There's more Rays on it than I thought. This guy's definitely a top 10. Stats were pretty good. Definitely can hit for power. I like him a lot. I think he's going to go forward I don't know how good the Rays are going to be, but this is definitely a bright spot for them. Paredes at 9. Max Muncy makes the list. If you want a high average, this is not your guy. This is not your guy of high average. He's going to hit for power. That's for sure. He definitely can do that. I think his average will come back up. I think his average was pretty low last year. I think the average will come back up. Look, in this lineup he has, and I'm mad, and that matters. And I think like that's almost a weird thing to say. But I think if when you have good hitters around you, that helps the hitter a lot. When you get good pitches to hit, when you get more opportunities at the plate, if you're not being pitched around, et cetera, et cetera, I think those help. Muncy, I think, is definitely in a good spot there. Number 8, Alex Bregman from the Astros. Again, loaded lineup. Bregman's pretty good for a long time over there at third base. Again, lots of protection in the lineup. Kyle Tucker, Alvarez, etc. on that lineup. Pena, those guys like that. Bregman, I think he's one of the leaders, I think, on that team as well. Right along there with Jose Altuve, I think Bregman, has been one of the backbones for their teams throughout the year. No question about it. They're a elite team, and they have an outstanding third baseman, Bregman, at number 7. Here, I think, is the heart and soul guy for, and I knew I was going to do it, Indian. The Guardians, I'm sorry. The Guardians. Heart and soul guy for them. I think probably he's their best offensive player along with Steve Kwan. He hits for power. I think he's pretty good at third base. I think at some point they may move him to first base, but he's pretty good over there. I really like the things that he's done. Good power hitter as well. Good, decent enough field. Not great, decent enough fielder, but definitely if you want a guy that's going to get you 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, definitely here's a guy. Doesn't need a lot of protection down a great lineup there, but outstanding power hitter. Jose Ramirez, best. I think the heart and soul of that Guardians ball club. Gunnar Henderson, sky's the limit. Sky is the limit for our guy Gunnar. He is one of the best young players in all of baseball. Top prospect last year, rookie of the year. He's only going to get better and better. I think he didn't lead the Orioles in home runs. You can almost guarantee he's going to be 30 and 100. He got off to a slow start and still had a great year. So sky's the limit. I do think he's better at third. Some I've seen on these lists have had him at short. I don't think he's going to be at short. I think he's going to be at third pretty much most of the year. Here's an all-timer, Nelson Arenado. This guy could be going to the Hall of Fame. Maybe slowing a bit. The Cardinals weren't as good. His stats weren't as good. I still think he's really good. I think at some point he may be moved this year. I think the Yankees were maybe in on him. But here's a guy who's really, really a solid all-around hitter. Hits for average, hits for power, very good defensively, getting a little older. So that's the question. Had a few more injuries last year. How much is left in the tank? There's no question about it. This is the line here. If you say Manny's number 1, I don't have too big of a problem with it. I have him at number 3. Manny Machado is terrific. His bat speed blows me away every time I see him. His guy gets the bat through the zone as fast as anybody ever. That's saying a lot. He really can hit for power, hit for average. Average isn't consistently as high with him out there in San Diego as I thought it might be. But, I mean, he's not consistently at 300. He dips down a bit. But he's really good. He's really good. Third base, very good at third base, very good hitter. I love Manny. Manny is tremendous player for them. They were smart to keep him and extend him and build around him. Devers, oh man, the only reason I don't like him more is because he's on the Red Sox. Honestly, Devers is terrific. Again, heart and soul guy here. They let Bogarts go. They let Turner go. They let a lot of guys go. Sale. They've kept this guy. They're building around him. That was a good decision. Average was not quite as high. I think some people get obsessed with the batting average, how high it needs to be. 300 or whatever, but he's really good. Devers, I think, is the real deal. I think also too, his lineup as the lineup gets better, he gets more pitches to hit. I think he's more productive. I think I actually love him as a third baseman as well. Big strong arm. Yes, Devers is number 2. Number 1, Austin Riley. Moved around a lot, different positions. I think he kind of landed at third base because of all the depth the Braves have at so many different positions. And this guy's almost forgotten about. Look, I've done this list. You've had Braves everywhere. So he's really good. I think Riley definitely could win an MVP. He's got that much talent. Outstanding hitter, tremendous size, can play him in various positions, primarily at third base, hits for power, hits for average. He's sensational. Austin Riley, number 1 best third baseman in the MLB. There you go. Austin Riley, number 1. So there you go. Definitely going to go ahead and have that. Definitely, we're going to go ahead and post that to our social media. For those of us that didn't see it, definitely check that out. Go ahead and share and subscribe that. So let's look at the spring training battles. So spring training is coming here. We're at the last day here in January. In February, we're going to have spring training start. Pitchers and catchers report. I don't know exactly today. I think it's like the 15th or something like that. But pitchers and catchers are going to report soon. So what are some of the battles that are going to happen in spring training? Who's going to do what where exactly? Who's fighting for what position? So when you're going to have spring training, that's a good time to evaluate, look at players, and see what happens in the coming season. So let's take a look at this. I think this is an interesting one, not talked about enough, but I think for me, this is kind of interesting. So who hits leadoff, right? So I think you had Adley last year do a couple games. Cedric Mullins started out the season as the leadoff hitter. Gunnar, I think, wound up finishing the season as leadoff. So this is interesting to me as far as here, as a battle. Now, Cedric Mullins is dropped in the order and never got injured and was kind of dropped in the order and kind of never made his way back. Are they going to leave him down there? That'll be fascinating. I think what'll happen, it'll be Gunnar at the top or Adley at the top. For me, I'm not Brandon Hyde. I wouldn't put those guys 1 or 2. I want Cedric there to set the table, but I think he may not be there. Might be a tell how Cedric's future looks if he stays at 7 in the order. Be very interesting to see that, how he does that. I believe, just to make a prediction, I think it'll be Gunnar or Adley hitting first, most likely Gunnar, at least to start the season at first base. Who's starting at second base? So Adam Frazier went ahead and he signed with the Royals, $4.5 million. So it won't be Adam Frazier. So you got Jordan Westburg, who finished up last year, pretty much splitting time with Adam Frazier. Got most of the time, frankly, played last year in AAA. And you still have Ramon Urias. He's spent some time utility at second base. I think it'll be one of these two there, if not both, as far as the platoon. Urias, I think there is a shot at the start they started. I think like he was affected. I think he and Colton Cowser kind of had the same problem. Certain guys can play sporadically and do well. Certain guys can be the Jim Dwyer, old school Rich Dower, come off the bench and do well. And some guys just don't do as well at that. I think that was the thing. I think if he does start at second base, I think that'll be the reason that Ramon Urias goes ahead and gets to start at second, because he might do better as a starter. I'm more of the belief it's Westburg that they're going to start. I think though he does need a good spring. I don't think they're just going to he goes out there in spring and hits 150 and really struggles a bit. I don't think they're just going to do that. I would think of the two, But I do believe that they're confident in him. I do believe they feel like he's going to start at second base. Very interesting to see how he does offensively. He's decent enough offensively, but this is a bigger axe now, starting every day at second base. Very interesting to see how that goes. Starting shortstop, battle here. Jackson Holiday and Jorge Mateo. Uh, Jorge has been the starter at shortstop. Kind of more of a platoon. I think all of 2022 pretty much used your starter pretty much full time. Last year started mostly games, but kind of bit of a platoon, kind of rotated in and out. That's kind of the way that it went last year. Uh, Jackson Holiday coming up from AAA, the number one prospect in all of Major League Baseball, son of Matt Holliday. This seems obvious, right? I will say this. I've heard a lot of people think that he's going to AAA at the start. I think Mateo, well, let me say this too. Mateo is going to be on the team. I think Mateo Roll, believe it or not, what he does is perfect for like a utility guy. He runs fast. He's excellent defensively. He's not a great hitter, but he can hit in spots. He can. I think he's good in the infield. I think he's good. So I think he's excellent as far as Taylor. I think it's possible that they do send him down, Jackson Holiday at the beginning. I don't think so. I think like Westbrook, he needs a good spring though. I don't think it's so etched in stone where if he goes and struggles in the spring that they're just going to do it anyway. I don't think they are. I think they would send him down. I don't think that's going to happen though. This guy can hit. So I don't think he's going to struggle. So that's why I think Jackson Holiday be up at the start. I think also too, with the rule as far as when you get a player, there are incentives for keeping one guy up as far as if you got a guy that might get rookie of the year. I think he'll at the start. I don't know if they worry so much about the service time with him. I think Holiday goes ahead and gets the start. Maybe more guys here, but I think these are the main two. Ryan O'Hearn and Heston Kjerstad at DH. This is fascinating. Ryan O'Hearn, I think, well, I'll answer it this way. You're going to see more guys in this on DH. You're going to see Adley DH some days if he's not catching. You are going to see Ryan Mountcastle DH some days if he's not at first base. You are going to see some guys DH some days if they're not doing. But I think most of the DH at bats for the season, that's what we're talking about here. So I can already see it. Somebody in the comments, these are most of the DH at bat. I believe it's going to be Ryan O'Hearn getting that. He kind of came from nowhere, though. I would say it's not etched in blood because he kind of came from nowhere. Are we going to get the same guy 2 years in a row? Heston Kjerstad, I think, is going to be on a major league roster. I think he's another rookie. I don't think he's going to go down. He was very good at the end of last year. He's a very promising hitter. I think probably next year he's for sure going to be starting because I don't think you're going to have one of these outfielders. You might not have Santander or Hayes or Mullen. So I think it's definitely a possibility that he could be starting as early next year. I do think he could take it from him. Again, good spring here. I could see Kjerstad getting an everyday DH job and kind of using O'Hearn in a utility role. Opening day pitcher, two guys. Your number one starter, Grayson Rodriguez, Kyle Bradish. I think it's interesting here. I think Bradish, I think a lot of people would say is your number one starter. I think there's a lot of people would say that, and I think that's deserving considering the season he had. Definitely the best pitcher over the course of the last season. I don't think there's any question about it. I think, though, going forward, the future, I think Grayson is viewed as the ace. And I think he's going to get treated as such this year. I'm thinking that Grayson is going to be this number one starter for the season at opening day, and I think he's going to be viewed as the number one starter for the season. I don't buy for a second that they're going to sign a pitcher. We did get the great news about ownership, so we'll see about the money. But I don't think that'll happen right away. I don't think that'll happen until the Angelos are completely gone, at least at the beginning of this season. Maybe as we get to next season or later or towards the break or something, we'll see that. But I think Grayson, I think Grayson is your number one starter. I do think it's going to be Grayson Lovely and not Bradish. I think Bradish, as good as he was last year, I think Grayson is kind of viewed at the ace. Relief pitching, I'm not going to do because that's way too many to do. I think that'll be a free for all. So there'll be a lot of competition in relief pitching, but we are going to do. I'm sorry, starting pitching number 5 because I think that's a lot, and it's a lot here too. Tyler Wells, D.L. Hall, Cole Irvin, Chase McDermott, Kay Povich, and a mystery. The question marks is a veteran starter, which I still think they might do. Michael Lorenzen, I think, is out there. I think there could be a veteran guy that they could grab and start. I think they will, as a matter of fact. I think they will sign a veteran starter here. I see a lot of Tyler Wells is going to start. I don't think so. I don't. I don't think Tyler. I think they're going to leave him in the bullpen. I don't see any reason why. They tried real hard last year to do it. I think the only way he does is like they're very unhappy with the rest of this group. DL, I think, is going to be given every opportunity to start. DL, I think, is going to be given every opportunity to start. I think they want to actually see him actually start. It won't be easy for him, though. They're not going to hand it to him. He's got to fight through a lot of traffic here. Cole Irvin, I think he's the actual fallback here. I think if it's not DL Hall, if it's not a veteran starter, if it's not him, I think it will be Cole Irvin. I think he's the actual fallback. A lot of people think it's Wells. I think it's more Cole Irvin. Chance McDermott, Kate Povich. Povich, I think, is a pretty long shot, but he's got a shot. I think Chance McDermott, will actually. I think Chance McDermott will actually be in the majors in 2024. Maybe not right at the start, but he's got. I could see it. It wouldn't shock me all the world that he's the 5th starter if he has a good enough spring. Last one. Not going to do the whole bullpen, but the 8th inning setup guy. Yadier Cano Perez. I don't think this is as obvious. I think he kind of struggled a bit more down the stretch as good as his numbers were. Perez was kind of ascending during the course of the year. And last year, if you look at the 2022 season, he was the setup guy. So I don't think it's out of the pale that he can take it back. I really like Perez as well. I think it'll be Cano at the start, but I really like Perez as far as that goes. I love his stuff. I love both of these guys' stuff. Also, Cano, kind of like in the O'Hearn category, kind of came out of nowhere. You know, he's going to be a second-year guy, 30 years old. So we will see if he can maintain success. There you go. All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining us here this week on the Ravery Sports Podcast. We will see you next week on the Ravery Sports Podcast. For fans like me, check us out on all of our social media platforms. Don't just watch the video, like and subscribe, and tell all your friends about the video. Thank you, and you have a great rest of your day.